Welcome to the Love Now Movement interview series hosted by Australian powerhouse spiritual teacher Susie Mazzoli. Together with the New York filmmaker Kevin Lewis, presents cutting-edge information in the field of consciousness, spirituality, science, and culture. We present in-depth interviews with the international movers and shakers, agents of change, and explore our rapid, expanded world. Come and join us on our Love Now across the world.
We're here with Leah and Philippe Garnier in Woodstock, New York, and we're going to be talking about sound healing. And as many people have seen over the last few years, at least the last 5 to 10 years, sound healing has become really popular and actually quite mainstream. And it is a practice that has been used by our indigenous peoples all over the earth for thousands of years. And it's something that is now coming back into our knowledge and back into our healing circles, back into use. So I would like to begin our conversation today. Thanks so much for being with us. Oh, and I do have to add actually that Philippe has played crystal bowls on the very first CD that I made of channeling, which is available from our website, Crystal Clear. It's a beautiful CD. Thank you. So let's just start with the very basics, like what is sound healing and why does sound healing work? What is actually happening?
Well, we're living in a world of resonance, and sound healing is a lot about the awareness of what frequencies are, our own frequency, the frequencies outside, and the one at large. And it's based on the principle of harmonizing the physical body, cellular body, and also the etheric body, the auric field.
Harmonizing.
Harmonizing.
Mm-hmm.
And we harmonize by the principle of resonance. As we know, if we put 10 clocks on a wall, eventually they're all going to click in the same beat. That goes for lighting bugs. They're flashing, in summertime, summer nights, beautiful. And then when two come too close together, they're going to be pulsing in the same, rhythm, synchronicity.
So you're saying it's natural for us and
it's
for inorganic
inorganic
materials to begin to come into rhythm together.
Yeah, and to entrain each other. So that's the basic law of the physical world we're living in.
Let me ask you, if one of those energy or frequencies is different to the other, higher or lower, is there a way that the entrainment goes? Or does it meet the midpoint, or does one entrain to the higher or to the lower?
If it's the case, I will call it more of a dissonance, because I view the whole world as the symphony of life. I will say that if you have one cell in your body that is not very healthy, it will create a dissonance within the healthy cell. So then the job of the sound practitioner or sonologue is to harmonize with the other good cell, harmonize the one who is weak or is creating a dissonance within the body. So that's one way we can look at it. Of course, sound healing is based a lot on quantum physics as well. Knowing that we can, with our heart frequency, aligned with our brain, which is also important, and with the higher power, we can make things shift and moved in the right direction for a good therapeutic outcome.
So when you're working, like in the room, we'll actually show everyone all the different instruments or vessels which you use. What actually happens is when you're playing, for example, the crystal ball, what is happening to my body?
All these instruments that you see here are vibrational instruments. And it's instruments that are not made to create melody, but they are here to, it's more like a sound that will touch you. So actually, for somebody who can't hear a thing, they will feel every instrument because of the vibrational effect, direct effect, that it will have into the body of the person. And the difference between an instrument who create melody and an instrument who is like untamed, we'll call it, is that the brain cannot understand what's going to be the next step, and so it's got to let go. if the brain cannot imagine what will be the next tone, it's very confusing, and ultimately there will be a let go and a release happening when you let go. You know, let
the
go,
brain.
let God. You know, this is famous phrase, and that's what's called also entrainment. You know, that there is different interval, and you know, if you use the Himalayan ball or the crystal ball or the gong, there's so many overtones that the brain cannot process exactly what's going on, and you let go, and you go to more of a a theta brainwave, like in a deep meditation, and then everything is possible within the resonance of the practitioner that's helping creating that space, and you know, I will be using my body as a conduit, like any energy works. But you know, what's important to understand is that sound, before anything, is an energy. It's a sound transport energy. It doesn't transport matter, but energy. So to encode the sound with our own electromagnetic field of the heart and link to the energy above, everything is possible.
So you're using, as you're playing then the sound, you're piggybacking your own healing energy on top of the sound waves, and that's coming into the person.
Yeah, and the way to do it is to make yourself disappear, you
Right.
know, and be guided. And
So you bring yourself into a trance state, or
yeah, I will say that I'm more or less like a tuning fork, and I just vibrate to the energy of healing by making myself invisible, truly, and then things happen.
And Leah, you're also working too with movement as well, with yoga and sound together.
Yes, yes. Actually, wanted to say something about that in yoga class. It happens every time. You open the class with an om, and everybody is out of tune, out of alignment. It doesn't sound good at all, but by the end of the class, everybody is entrained to whatever their perfect tone is, I'll say, and also with the tone of everybody around them. So you then have this beautiful harmonious sound happening, and that's really beautiful. So
I would like to add something as well, is that sound is everywhere, and our hearing is very narrow, the sounds, and even our eyes for that matter. But you know, what makes our reality is the architectural makeup that make us, and thus we believe that what we hear and what we see is the real world. However, now we know that everything vibrates and everything makes sounds. So by this awareness alone, we can expand our consciousness and be working with the invisible realm, where really, like Saint-Exupéry was saying in The Little Prince, what's really important is the invisible. And that's what, you know, love is, you know, emotion. Emotion, I mean, it's energy in motion. So that's what we're working with. And truly, sound is architecture, it's everything, you know, because everything is mathematical. Everything is a ratio. Ourselves, we're built in a Fibonacci ratio. The golden mean is everywhere in the world. So we're working with this kind of science, and mixed with mysticism, and belief and awareness, knowledge with awareness.
Let me ask Leah too about when you're doing yoga and sound healings together. Are there particular instruments that you're using for particular asanas, or how do you do it?
Oh, I do it all different ways. So, you know, part of the way I structure my class is, it's hard to explain, but right from the start I'm using sound. So I'm using the gong, which I feel is a very earthy sound. And I start with...
Like this gong here? Yeah.
This gong here, I drag it downstairs with me every week. And I start the class with yin yoga postures, which are, you know, postures that are held for a very long time. And it's very meditative, it's very yin. And and it's hard, right, to start something that way. But for body, in order to move and go into action, it really needs to release in a very deep level.
So tell me, what is so in a yin, that's the feminine also side opening up, correct, in yin yoga?
Yep.
What is the gong sound doing to the body in the room? What is happening?
The gong is a very magical instrument. The gong sound will go into any part of the body that has restrictions. Say you have a knee issue going on, that gong, for some reason, that sound will go right into the knee and go into that place and help to move and release that energy. It helps to change the neural pathways. Neuroplasticity is something that our teacher John Boyer talks about, and it really helps to, how do say that? You're more technical on these things, but so I think it changes the cells.
Right,
actually.
I'm seeing a wave coming in and literally bringing the cell back into its natural waveform.
Definitely, and the other thing that happens too with the gong, it's just impossible to think. So the chitta vrittis, what they call those mind manas that are going on and on
Chat,
and
chat,
on.
chat, chat, monkey.
It stops.
Right.
The sound of the gong arrests it completely. So I like to start with that. It's a very powerful sound, and people just relax automatically. And then sometimes I'll actually have people doing asana with tuning forks. If we're doing more of the warrior poses and moving with the arms and just tuning in. Sometimes I'll use it in meditations. I'll have everybody come and take a bowl or a set of forks. They could play the gong, and I'll have them tone to whatever sound they're playing, and then I'll have them switch the instruments up, and it's amazing, really, because it's getting people to find their voice, find their own sound. So breath is the beginning of that, and then breathing, which is the more shamanic for healing, blowing on things, is the second sort of realm, and then the third part is actually vitalizing the voice through sound. So that's what we're working on in my classes.
Many years ago, I was on pilgrimage in Nepal and visiting Karmapa and visiting many of the monasteries within the Tibetan lineage. And that's when I came across the Himalayan bowls and obviously became really addicted to them and that sound and the quality. And I find them really grounding, which is why I play the Himalayan bowls. I find that it opens up that theta state in the brain where we go into meditation and also into our intuition. And I think when you open the intuition, that's when a lot of that divine healing comes from within. And when that's open and when you're in theta wave, then I find that people are much more able to go into their own story and to see the meaning. So there's a lot of emotional healing. But I find that the Himalayan bowls are very grounding. They're made obviously from metals from the earth. And the tuning forks I find are a very different place as well compared to the crystal bowls. Yeah. And I, of course, prefer the Himalayan bowls because they're handmade, like they are completely hand-beaten, and that somehow that humanity and those thousands of years of those families there in the Kathmandu Valley making them and doing that special alloy.
They say that they're the first gongs. They're called standing gongs.
Standing gong.
Yeah.
Yeah, each instrument of this place, like you say, the gong and the Himalayan bowl, they are part of what the Tibetan call the shunyata. The form is emptiness, emptiness is form. Almost like rebooting your computer. People who are into a space where there is a Himalayan bowl bath or gong bath, go back to the earliest of their earliest memory. Even
in this lifetime or others?
It can go very, very far away.
Yeah.
So that they create this space of this, early creation of the world, creation of ourselves, and that's a place which is very, powerful. And like you say, emotion arise, versus the crystal, which is a little bit more ethereal.
Very. Yeah.
Much higher plane, more like the angel realm, a lot of light. But sometimes also difficult, depends how you play them. We often sound practitioner will use like two balls that will be in dissonance with each other to create an uncomfortable space, you know, but it's also a space that will be followed directly to, it will follow like an harmonic tone. So it's an opportunity for the body to understand that there is chaos, and then the harmonic tone coming after give like, it's also an opportunity to have a release, an energetical release, as well as cellular, you know. There's always chaos before order. You know, when we move from one house to another, there's always like this difficult place of moving. Every time we decide to change our life, there's a challenge. So order, you know, will, I mean, chaos will precede order.
Right.
And that goes with the sound.
Tell me about the tuning forks, and
Mm.
also, you know, a lot of sound practitioners, and I know, also work with the actual notes, you know, C, G, A. What is your experience with using the notes, in fact, for healing, like matching up, you know, how there's very, very old practices of matching up certain notes with certain parts of the body?
Well, I will use, I will work with the power center, or what we call chakra, using, for example, the C and a D together. C is more like a fundamental tone, and it's more of a grounding tone. But the interval between C and D, which is related to the root chakra, can create this opening. So the way I work...
Opening of
the chakra, giving more power to the chakra, also cleansing. The way I work is that I will use the fork in the counterclockwise first. Counterclockwise first to bring the energy in, and clockwise to bring the energy out. So, you know, if I feel that the chakra is closed, maybe actually I will go clockwise first to clean it.
How do you,
do
you actually use the forks to decide what state the chakra's in, or?
Yeah. I'll show you. So let's say that we're going from the root chakra. So I will use the forks. I will not hit them that way, because, and I will show you.
You'll damage them?
Yeah. Well, it's not damaging. It's just it's kind of like a little bit too aggressive. Even if you do it very, very slow or very gentle, it's still. I'm more interested in this kind of sound. And I will work. And, you know, with gentle motion, you move things that, like what I will call the gray prana. You know,
gray
prana.
Like
I will move the gray prana out.
What's gray prana?
It will be like some prana that are linked to an emotion that may not be necessarily good for you.
You're taking out my grey prana.
Yeah. Can you feel it?
Well, this is very shamanic, no?
It's not only no, it's not really shamanic. It's you know, in the tradition of Vipassana, we're working exactly with what they call a galupa, like an emotion. Energy attached to an emotion that is part of your field and part of yourself, and then bringing the good prana, which is available everywhere, in the counterclock, and you know, it's a lot about visualization, bringing the energy in.
Already it sounds different. The sounds are different.
Well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you use when you're identifying whether an area, a chakra is off?
Yeah.
Or not
Off
healthy?
is good.
Yeah. Do you use your hands, your intuition, your knowing, or do you actually tell from the tuning fork whether someone's?
I can do the C and the G as a testing machine. And here I will hear some kind of a discrepancy in the sound. So this is your throat here. And usually, see, now I'm close to the heart, it's a little bit lower.
Makes me feel very happy.
Oh, it's very good. So that's what Dr. John Beaulieu, called releasing the nitric oxide within your body. He did a lot of research about that, but so I can use it as a scanning device.
The sound waves are releasing my
sound,
nitric oxide?
Yeah. But so I can use it as a scanning device, but also another thing is that I use my hand as an ear, because all our body is a big ear.
Yeah.
And so
a big ear.
It is,
yeah.
it is. And when I switch my awareness to versus feeling, like that's what you do in pranic healing or Reiki, so versus healing, feeling, when you put yourself and saying, okay, I'm going to hear with the palm of my hand, then for me, in any case, I was very more sensitive. And then you can, hear the congestion of energy. And the feeling will be the same than for a Reiki practitioner, or it will create some frequency within your palm.
Right.
And when there is congestion, it will be like it will be more dense than other time.
I noticed before that when you took them out, that you actually hit it on to your wedding ring, which I see is a gold ring.
It's a gold ring.
What happens when it hits gold?
Gold, to me, is the enlightenment of the mineral. So, to use sound, and it's also a frequency. So I will work with the fork just purely with sound, and then at the end, perhaps, we'll have the frequency mixed with the energy of gold. And that goes, for all the alchemical ball that are, merged with pink quartz or plated gold. And you also work in the same way on some of my balls that are my own line. I have roses, and I have pine, and we have Palo Santo, and mimosa flower, and so this is also like using the frequencies of each plant and the characteristic as healing plants to encode the sound with it. And so that's why I use often my ring, or like this other Indian rings with all this stone together. Yeah.
It's a chakra ring.
Yeah. And you can hear the sound moving in the room. You can really. It's not really about directing. It's about working with the sound to allow the sound to go in specific places. Like Leah was saying with the gong, when you have restriction or when you have a pain in your knee, the sound will know where to go, because everything is consciousness, everything is intelligent. So I believe that when you create a sound, it's just an extension of yourself and of everything in life. Everything in life is sound. So it's to work with that energy.
And also, when I'm working with a Palo Santo bowl, for example, I'm definitely working with the spirit of Palo Santo and the sound.
Yeah.
And I really feel like when I call that spirit in, the spirit is there with me. It's and helping with the sound and going exactly where it needs to. I really trust that and had some really amazing experiences.
Yeah, I think there's an equation that works very well with sound. It's knowledge. Knowledge is important to know what is sound, knowledge. Then from the knowledge comes the awareness. And from the awareness and the knowledge come the form. So we are co-creator. And this is a very important equation. And so when people ask me about sound, I always say first, you would study sound. What is sound, And there's many books now available to explain exactly what sound is and where it is and what makes us vibrational beings. And then when we have this awareness, everything is possible. We can transform sound or transmute the energy the way we want to.
So can I experience some of the different, and if you can just explain some of the different instruments that you're using and how they work?
Absolutely.
Yeah, fabulous.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
So I'm going to experience all of the different sounds.
Yeah, so we're going to start with the crystal, just to stimulate your field and see what notes resonate the most with you.
And how can you tell what resonates the most with me?
Because I'm also in resonance with you on the ball. So we kind of like create one. And my intention here is to again kind of disappear and see what I feel will unify all of us with the notes of crystal.
And I should be able to feel it as well?
Absolutely. See, here we're getting closer.
deeply resonating.
Still points.
The tone.
Still points?
Yeah, it goes into still point, which is where you do your deepest healing work, right? So that happened at D.
D. How does it feel?
It feels like I'm becoming obviously very relaxed, and how does it feel for you?
Well, for me, being at your feet, there was a lot of electricity running through you, especially on your right side. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. I call it actually more buzzing in the body, and you know, it was really like zzz, zzz, zzz. But then, and now it's really diminished. So I'm feeling more balance from both sides, and less of that electrical pulse. So, how are you feeling?
Yeah. Then there's
I feel great.
There's another.
So tell me about these. These are the ones that have the.
Yeah. This one's got the pine. Actually, I should probably. Well, this one's got jams. But Leah, do you want to give me the rose?
Gems?
Because
It looks like, is it citrine?
yeah, citrine type. And what's this one? It's a D, I think. No, is it the rose?
It's a D.
Yeah, perfect. So I will use this a little bit like the tuning fork. So I'll go clockwise to cleanse cleaning your field, and also start communicating with every cells of your body. And the message I give here is like any energy that needs to be out goes inside the ball. And thus I will blow on it at the end to release the grey prana. energizing now.
Very interesting. What I feel is like the layers that we have, the layers of conditioning and you know, like how you're supposed to behave, social structure, religious structures, all of those layers that like keep us in the box and keep us controlled and you know, easily manipulated. I feel like those layers are loosening and being lifted off with the sound. And as I'm lifting through that, I feel myself opening up literally like time portals or multidimensional portals. So it feels like it's literally like it assists or promotes or even supports the ascension of the spirit of the soul.
Especially with the crystal.
Yeah.
Well, that's Nada Yoga is the exploration of consciousness through sound. So
right.
for sure you're going to be tapping into that.
Right.
Yeah. And just this little sample of the session, you actually worked. I mean.
I always work.
Yeah.
No, and I can definitely feel the difference
No.
from when I first
Yeah, and also, you know, when the client have release, it goes with burping for me. I never have an excess of air except when I work with a client, so I know already that you had at least 3 or 4 releases just during 5 minutes of work.
You burped.
Yeah,
it happens to me too.
Yeah.
As a cranial psychotherapist, I'm at the head of a person, and it happens all the time.
Yeah, it's just
the
energy.
When I'm doing hands-on, for me it's anger that's coming up. Yeah. So let me ask you about the gongs.
Let's give her a gong sandwich. Would you like that?
I'd love a gong. I'd like to be in the gong sandwich. And now I know you as Sage Centre, and you know we've worked together for many years since I moved to Woodstock.
7 years now.
7 years that you're organising all sorts of different retreats and seminars to do with sound and healing, and you organise several of them annually in the area where they are international. You have a lot of international teachers, speakers, and also students. And I remember once we did a fantastic seminar too with the great Gong master.
Don Conroe.
Absolutely amazing.
We have,
yeah, that was fabulous.
we do an annual retreat with him now, coming up in March.
Fabulous. So people can come to you here in Woodstock. They can also do distance healing with you, and they can also come to the retreats. They've got a sage.
We have two websites. There's one called soundhealingretreat.com, soundhealingretreat.com.
And we'll have that written up on our YouTube description for
just
people
what I
that
thought. They
don't
would be
speak
like,
French.
and then there's Sage Healing Center,
Okay.
which is more of a smaller workshop and more about the work that we're doing, Leah and I.
For private
for
sessions.
private,
Right.
and then the monthly workshop that we have, which usually are like 2 or 3 hours workshop.
And those are offered in our center downstairs.
Yeah.
Right. Great. Let's
Gong. Let's do some Gong.
I want to be the meat in the Gong sandwich.
Well,
And I have to say that I don't eat meat, that I'm a vegetarian, and I encourage all people to be vegetarians. Let's save the planet. Him's up.
Yeah.
So what happens with the gongs when you have one at either end is it creates a current that you are now in training with.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
It's
way.
called the bioplasma. There's the bioplasma effect where the two gong together create a vibration that is actually create more electromagnetic field around you because of the gong and the way they're made. So that's what you're going to experience by being in a sandwich between two gongs.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what I experienced.
it's hard to talk afterwards.
What happened?
Every time I work on people, it's always very hard to even move my lips and my, But, you know, I mean, you tell me what happened, because really, here it's really, you know, you're sandwiched with the frequency, you all merge with them. As I said, there is a release of electromagnetic field creating around your body, and then, you know, I used the gong in the middle of your body to just do like a rebooting of all your system, then at the end, like a sweeping motion of all the energy that may need to go, and so logically, you will have like an excess of, you know, I don't know, I mean, I'm going to use the word energy again, but you will feel balanced, refreshed, stronger, more balance, and that's what the work does.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
I feel all of that.
Did you feel any sense of...
decomposition.
Yeah. I felt very strongly the wave, like in 3D, like literally like my body had turned into, you know, like a sheet doing this in the wind. Yeah. I felt literally my body was waving and coming into a slower frequency, and at the same time very, very opening. I also felt on a really strong physical level, the sound was and I felt this before with the sound, that it's detoxifying, that it's literally taking out any metals, heavy metals, or any parasites, or anything that wasn't resonating with my highest physical vital health. I felt that it was being literally like shaken apart from the cellular body and detached. So now I almost feel like a bit of a headache and a bit nauseous, and I need to like get the water out of my body and take it out. So it feels like a big detox. I know when I was studying in Nepal, that, you know, when they put the bowls on your head, and the sound teachers there told me that the bowls can completely get rid of anything in the body, any illness. So stage 4 cancer, that it will work. And so I can see how on such a very deep physical level too, just by bringing you back into your vital health, it's going to work.
Philippe's worked with many cancer
people who have went through radiation and chemotherapy.
And what else have you worked with? What other illnesses? Everything.
Depression, because, you know, sound again touch everything, and also
emotional,
you know,
physical, mental, spiritual.
But very deeply emotional issues. He gets
addiction,
a lot of clients like that, you know, very drawn to the sound practices.
Right.
And here, you know, we just did a sample. I mean, it was like a 5-minute thing.
Right.
But
I'm so
but
quick to resonate.
Of course. But it would be, if we were doing that with a client for a session, you know, it would be much slower, you know, to go slow and build up very slowly, you know, of course. And then, you know, what happened often is that there is this feeling of decomposition, like just disappearing within the sound. And that's also, again, the opportunity for the body to recreate himself, you know, and take out all the illness that is in the body.
We do monthly sound baths downstairs in the yoga studio as well. So groups come in, and, you know, we bring down the gongs, the crystals, the Tibetans, the frosted crystals.
Gong puja also, all night Gong puja.
We are doing an all-night Gong puja is the newest thing with the gong. You build a gong tower, basically, and there's maybe 10 gongs. We actually have a 50-inch gong coming this week, and we're doing it. So come, because you come in from 10:30 to 6:30 in the morning, and at 6 45-minute intervals, you're being gonged. All night long, so you're sleeping there, you know.
And you can sleep through the gonging.
Yeah,
you can.
Wow, fabulous.
And that's, you know, I have to mention
Gong sleepover
for that, too, you know.
Of course,
it's a Gong sleepover party.
Yes,
fabulous.
It's a pujama party.
It's really about puja. It's really about offering, you know, to the world peace. You know, and a lot of people are gonging for world peace right now. And, you know, sound never dies. So when you
these ripples go out,
ripples on,
and then the people in the room,
on.
the ripples go out.
Exactly.
Okay, fabulous. Thank you so much, guys.
You're very
Thank
welcome.
you, Susie.
Namaste.
Namaskar.
Thank you to the sound gods.
Thank you. Back.
Thank you. Thanks for watching, everyone, and join us again.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.